Women forget faces, texts, and words, but they never forget how a man made them feel. The difference between being just another guy and the one who lingers in her mind for years comes down to one powerful skill: being deeply present. This isn't about passive listening or going through the motions. It's about creating an experience so immersive that, in that moment, nothing else exists for her but the two of you. Most men fail at this because they're trapped in their own heads, distracted by their phones, rehearsing what to say next, or worrying about how they're being perceived. They're physically there but mentally elsewhere. The unforgettable man, he shuts out the noise. He doesn't just hear her, he absorbs her. His eye contact is steady but relaxed. His body, language open but grounded, doesn't rush to fill silences because he's comfortable in them. When she speaks, he's not waiting for his turn to talk. He's fully engaged, responding to the emotion behind her words, not just the words themselves. This level of presence is rare because it requires emotional discipline. It means resisting the urge to perform, impress, or steer the interaction toward an outcome. Instead, it's about creating a space where she feels seen and understood in a way that's almost unsettling, because in a world of half-hearted attention, being truly noticed is intoxicating. The magic happens in the subtleties, the slight tilt of your head when she shares something personal, the way you remember a small detail she mentioned days later, or how you instinctively lower your voice in a crowded room so she leans in closer. These moments build an unshakable connection because they signal something primal. Asterisk, you matter. This moment matters. Asterisk presence isn't just about her, though it's a reflection of your inner state. A man who's fully present isn't anxious about the future or hung up on the past. He's rooted in now, and that kind of calm assurance is magnetic. It makes her feel safe, not because you're placating her, but because you're so anchored in yourself that she can relax into the interaction. That's why she'll remember you long after. Not because of what you said or did, but because of how you made her feel, like she was the only person in the room, and like your attention was a gift, not a given. In a world of distractions, that's unforgettable. Women crave too, seemingly opposing forces in a man: the comfort of emotional safety and the thrill of unapologetic masculinity. This paradox is where most men fail, offering only half of what truly creates lasting attraction. Emotional safety isn't about being soft. It's about creating a space where she can let her guard down without fear of judgment or manipulation. It's the ability to listen without immediately trying to fix things, to hold space for her vulnerabilities without making them about you. This requires emotional intelligence, reading between the lines of what she says, recognizing the unspoken needs behind her words, responding with genuine understanding rather than performative empathy. But safety alone isn't enough. Without the counterbalance of masculine energy, it becomes bland and uninspiring. Unapologetic masculinity isn't about dominance or aggression. It's about standing firmly in your truth, maintaining strong boundaries, and leading interactions with quiet confidence. It's the ability to make decisions without seeking approval, to disagree without being disagreeable, and to remain unshaken when tested. This combination creates what psychologists call secure attachment. She feels both protected and excited, stable but never bored. The magic happens in the tension between these two poles. When you can be the rock she leans on while simultaneously being the storm that stirs her emotions, you become unforgettable. It's the way you calmly handle a crisis, but then playfully challenge her when she's being difficult. It's the way you can be tender in intimate moments, but firm when boundaries are crossed. This duality triggers something primal in her psychology, the ancient attraction to a protector, who is both gentle with his tribe and formidable to his enemies. Most men oscillate between extremes, either the overly accommodating nice guy who lacks edge, or the emotionally unavailable tough guy who can't connect. The rare man who masters this balance doesn't just attract women, he leaves an indelible mark on their psyche. They remember how he made them feel simultaneously secure and electrified, how he could be both their sanctuary and their adventure. This isn't about manipulation or playing roles. It's about developing the emotional range to be fully present in all aspects of your masculine energy. knowing when to comfort and when to challenge, when to yield and when to stand firm. That's the alchemy of unforgettable attraction. The most magnetic men understand a counterintuitive truth. The less you need a woman, the more she'll want you. This isn't about playing games or feigning indifference. It's about cultivating a sense of self-worth that makes your attention valuable precisely because it isn't desperate. Neediness repels because it communicates scarcity, the unspoken message that you lack options or validation. But when you're anchored in your own purpose and fulfillment, your presence becomes a gift rather than a demand. True detachment comes from abundance, not apathy. It's the difference between ignoring her because you're punishing yourself for caring, and being fully engaged while maintaining emotional independence. This creates what psychologists call the polarity of attraction, the dynamic tension between connection and autonomy. She can feel that you're choosing her, not clinging to her. The man who masters this walks the line between showing authentic interest and maintaining unshakable self-respect. He texts because he has something to say, not because he's anxious for a reply. He plans dates he genuinely wants to experience, not just performances designed to impress. This mindset shifts the entire power dynamic. When she senses that your world doesn't revolve around her approval, something fascinating happens. She starts wondering how to earn your continued interest. Your value rises in her eyes because you've demonstrated the rarest quality in modern dating: emotional self-sufficiency. This doesn't mean being cold or withholding. In fact, you can be warmly affectionate while still maintaining that core of independence. The key is that your happiness and identity remain intact regardless of her reactions. Women remember the man who didn't complete them, but complemented them. The one who didn't drain their energy with neediness, but energized them with his own passion for life. This creates a gravitational pull. She'll find herself wanting to be part of your world rather than expecting you to orbit hers. The paradox is that, by not needing her, you become the man she can't stop thinking about, not because you manipulated her emotions, but because you showed her what true confidence looks like. That's the kind of presence that lingers long after you're gone. Walking away isn't about punishment or manipulation. It's the ultimate demonstration of self-respect that etches you into her memory. Most men tolerate disrespect because they fear loss more than they value themselves. They negotiate, bargain, or worse, beg for basic decency. But the unforgettable man understands this brutal truth. Tolerance of poor treatment invites more of it. When he encounters disrespect, whether subtle or overt, he doesn't explode with anger or collapse into pleading. His response is far more powerful, calm, decisive action. This moment creates what psychologists call a flashbulb memory, an intensely vivid recollection tied to strong emotions. She remembers where she was, what she said, how the air felt. When you quietly withdrew your presence, not with drama, not with ultimatums, but with the quiet certainty of a man who knows his worth. That image of you choosing yourself burns brighter in her psyche than any argument or emotional outburst ever could. It forces a reckoning with her own behavior in a way no words could achieve. The power lies in what you don't do. You don't explain yourself excessively. You don't seek revenge. You simply act as if her disrespect surprised you, not because you're hurt, but because you expected better. This creates cognitive dissonance that lingers. She's left with the uncomfortable realization that you assessed her behavior and found it beneath your standards. That stings far more than anger ever could. But here's the crucial distinction. This isn't a tactic. It's the natural consequence of a man who genuinely values himself. He walks away not to teach her a lesson, but because staying would betray his own principles. That authenticity is what makes it unforgettable. Months later, she finds herself replaying that moment, not because of what you took from her, but because of what you revealed about yourself. And that's the irony. By refusing to fight for her respect, you become the one man she can't stop respecting. The most unforgettable men master the delicate dance between consistency and mystery. They become a story she can't stop reading, yet can never quite predict the next chapter. This isn't about being aloof or playing mind games. It's about having such depth to your character that she continually discovers new layers. while trusting the core of who you are remains solid. Most men make the mistake of either becoming an open book too soon, losing all intrigue, or being so guarded they never form real connection. The balance lies in revealing yourself gradually. Like peeling an onion where each layer reveals something more compelling beneath the surface. Consistency builds trust, hits the foundation that allows mystery to thrive without feeling unstable. When she knows you're a man of your word, that your actions align with your values, that you don't shift personalities based on who's watching, she relaxes into the connection. But consistency doesn't mean predictability. The unforgettable man keeps her engaged by revealing his complexity in stages. One day, she discovers your passion for restoring vintage motorcycles. Another time, she's surprised to learn you volunteer teaching kids to read. Later, she sees the intensity in your eyes when you talk about your ambitions. These aren't calculated reveals. They're the natural result of a man who lives a full, multifaceted life. Mystery isn't about withholding, it's about having so much going on in your world that she can't possibly uncover it all at once. It's the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't feel the need to prove himself. When she asks about your weekend, you might casually mention hiking a remote trail without oversharing every detail.
And when she texts,
you respond with warmth, but don't immediately drop everything because you're immersed in your own projects. This creates space for her imagination to fill in the gaps, and imagination is where attraction thrives. Women remember the man who made them feel, not just the one who told them everything. The magic happens in the contrast, your steady reliability, combined with your unpredictable depth. She knows you'll always show up as your best self, but she never knows exactly what version of that self she'll get. Maybe tonight you're the charismatic storyteller making the whole room laugh. Tomorrow, you're the focused entrepreneur working late on your vision. Next week, you're the adventurous traveler sending her a photo from some hidden gem you discovered. These aren't personas. They're all authentic pieces of you, revealed at the right moments. This balance creates what psychologists call the Zygarnik effect. It's a phenomenon where people remember unfinished or incomplete experiences more vividly than closed ones. By never fully letting her feel like she's figured you out, you become a puzzle she can't stop turning over in her mind. But unlike games, this isn't manipulation. It's the natural result of a man who is continually growing, evolving, and diving deeper into his own potential. The unforgettable man isn't trying to be mysterious. He simply has better things to do than explain himself constantly. His life is rich with purpose, his mind occupied with ideas, his time filled with meaningful pursuits. He shares himself generously but never exhaustively, and that's why she can't forget him, because just when she thinks she understands him, he reveals another fascinating layer, making her realize the adventure has only just begun.